I would like to welcome Scott Wyden-Kibowitz to the conversation about pricing. We have an interesting topic today, mini sessions. But before we get into that, I want to remind everybody that this channel is about pricing and all the different topics around pricing, from copyright to usage, different types and so many different ways, from per image, day rates, hourly rates. How much do you pay for certain things? Maybe like a model. I mean, there are a lot of different topics that you can really approach in this whole pricing conversation. And so, hey, if you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss a future upload. But today, we are talking with Scott, and we're going to talk mini sessions. And with that, let's get right into it, Scott. Let us know, what is a mini session?
So a photography session, as most photographers know it today, is a one-on-one session where you spend multiple hours with the client, potentially. For example, family portraits. You're spending possibly an entire day with the family, depending on what the package you have sold is. And a mini session is where you're spending a few hours at one location, and you're photographing, 5 to 10 clients in those few hours. And these sessions, these mini sessions, are typically somewhere between 15 minutes to 20 minutes, 25 minutes. They're very, very short, and they're practically back to back with maybe 5 minutes in between. And there's a downside to these type of sessions where it's not as personal. You don't get to know the family as well as you would if you're spending a lot of time with them. But the upside is you're gaining multiple clients, and you have the opportunity to really upsell each of those clients and spend less than a day, potentially, to make $1,000, $3,000, maybe even more, depending on the sessions and the clients you got.
Right.
But one of the beautiful things about mini sessions is that you are also getting these clients now on your books that you can then remarket to and sell exclusive one-on-one full day sessions or anything like that. So you can make more money from those clients in the future. You could offer mini sessions to clients over and over again, or you can offer mini sessions to clients once, and then they are required to then do full sessions after that. It's all up to you as whatever works best for your business. But the idea of a mini session is they're short, they're quick, and they're just really simple ways to make a bunch of money, for your business in a very little amount of time.
Yeah, I've seen this. I've seen both directions on this, having conversations with photographers, especially even related to weddings. I know you're not going to have a mini session at the wedding, but the approach in terms of the pricing idea, where you give them a lower price and work your way up, versus having a big price and hopefully you land them. I mean, sometimes there is a threshold within a specific community where people are used to saying, okay, I'm okay with, sake of argument, $500, where another community may say, I'm fine with $3,000. But then if you have the offerings to build them up because you did a great job, you could probably sell more. And I'm assuming this is a very similar scenario.
Oh yeah. The fact that you can nurture these people that have hired you for a small job is a beautiful thing, because as you get to know them and they understand how you work and how you're good at getting them to feel comfortable, and whether you are salesy or not salesy, whatever they prefer, and how the photos come out in the end when they get their prints and things like that, they might fall in love with you and then want to hire you for a $3,000 day job. But when you talk about weddings, you won't see wedding mini sessions, of course, but what you will see potentially are engagement mini sessions, where you have 5 couples that are just got engaged that want to do a quick mini session with you, that you can then say, well, thank you for hiring me with this mini session for your engagement photos. I'll take here's $100 print credit if you hire me for your wedding, or a free album if you hire me for your wedding, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Offering them something to continue the relationship down the road really can be a powerful way to continue, one, as you put, the relationships, but also more opportunity for income down the road is truly important. Keeping the flow, that pipeline going. sometimes I found that just the concept of quick is a selling point. Some people just don't have the time. For
Yeah.
example,
Yeah.
I do a lot of executive portraits. Now, some of my studio mates, they spend hours. They'll spend an hour or 2 hours on an executive portrait, where mine is maybe 20 minutes. And it's not, and what are the portraits that my studio mates create, for an hour or two better? Absolutely. I'll give it to you. It's a lot better. However, I'm in and out, and I take a very nice portrait. They're happy. They got what they want, and I didn't take up much of their time. I went in to their office, set up, took the images, got out. That high value right there was a selling point. It is a selling point.
Yep.
And you're saying, so with mini sessions, you could do something like that, even on the executive side, as well as maybe fashion. I've seen, fashion photographers do model sessions that way in a mini session format.
Yeah, you could even do something where you do a mini session with models out in a park or whatever, in just natural light, and then upsell them to in-studio headshots for their their professional career as well. So there's a studio, a studio session with like beautiful lighting and fog machines and all that, you can go all out. So yeah, there's a lot of potential.
Yeah. I mean, you certainly could set up the day. And I know a photographer did that. He would come in from, I think it was New York, into the Detroit area, and he'd set up the whole day. Just portrait, half hour per model. And you'd get your standard shots. So there may be like 3 standard shots that they would get. And if they did really well or needed more later, they would certainly call on them to shoot more, or maybe a full package, a full portfolio. And, where you want to have, you can bring on a stylist or makeup artist, to be on hand for this kind of stuff, or say, hey, if you want those additional things, we could set up another appointment with the full crew. So,
yeah. Like when you do a mini session for families, for example, you're not really gonna have a makeup artist there. You'll have you'll probably have somebody who can, address a hair issue or something like that. But you won't have a full makeup artist. But if there's a mother who really wants to go all out and get done up and whatever, then you upsell them on a family session that is $1,500 or whatever it is, and it comes with a makeup artist, and then she can get her everything beautified.
Yeah, exactly. So you could really look at a mini session is not so much maybe how I can be cheap, but as an introduction section to, as you were pointing out in the very beginning, to get in front of more people, to show them, the value of your work and what you can do. And even if just a percentage of them are interested in doing more, that can lead to great opportunity.
Yeah, but there is another side of this where in some areas there are people who, depending on what you do as a photographer, there are people who don't want to spend that much money on a photography session. So, for example, families in my area aren't looking to spend $2,000 on a family session. Some of them do, of course, because everybody has their own thing. But for me to be able to sell mini sessions would be a lot easier, and I can still get all these clients, and I can still make money, and I don't have to really sell in order to find the few clients willing to spend more money on a family session. So
would you offer packages immediately, during that session, or give them something to take home, do you think? How do you approach it? Or would you put it online for them to view?
Yeah, so there's multiple approaches to how you handle that part. Some people who do mini sessions, they will actually, during the mini session, they will actually book an in-person sales meeting with the client to come back to their studio, their house, wherever they work out of. And at that point, they will do an in-person sales pitch, show them the photos, show them the packages, and sell them on everything.
Right.
Now, this is great for anybody who's comfortable with an in-person sales approach.
Right.
Me, I'm not very comfortable with that. So what I do is I have a flyer that I've created that has my packages. which I've been working on restructuring and tweaking and everything. Always got to be testing this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
yeah, and at that point, I would give them the flyer and give them. I would tell them I will email them the URL where they can buy everything, and basically, depending on the package they buy, that is what pricing list they're seeing. And if they buy a package that has a free this or free that, they'll get a coupon for that, and so on. So, but yeah, so I'm doing more of a online approach, but trying to blend the sort of short in person while I'm right in front of their face at the mini session with the online, trying to blend them together a little bit because,
And,
like, yeah.
yeah, I was going to say, do you know of any differences in terms of sales related to sending people online versus the personal session? I mean, I
Yes,
have heard that the personal session tends to lead to
a
higher
lot
sales.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're comfortable, or if you're not comfortable and you want to learn to be comfortable, in-person sales is definitely a better approach to make more money from mini sessions, or make money from any photography session, really.
Right.
And I'm slowly getting there. It's just a matter of training yourself and educating yourself. So, I'm in Facebook groups that talk all about in-person sales. I have courses about it. It's just a matter of just like practicing the implementation. But yeah, for an online, you might make an extra 100 or 200 maybe on the sale, maybe on average, but in person, you can make like 600 or more on average. So if you,
Yeah.
in person is definitely the way to go if you can get yourself to that point.
That makes me think I do an event once a year where I'm just taking quick portraits all the way around, and then the company puts them up online and people can order the pictures afterwards. And I always get a few each year.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking about that, it's like, I'm wondering if maybe there's a way I probably couldn't get them to pay for it, but maybe make the commitment, like check this box if you would like a copy, for sake of argument, $25. Right? And so then you would send it to them with kind of an invoice for $25. And that way, they know they made the commitment right then and there, and versus depending on them to take that extra step to read the newsletter that has the link that they actually are going to click and go to the site and then place an order. Just thinking aloud, think of how many different ways in your photography you could take. Just think about those extra steps you could take where maybe you're normally not taking them.
Yeah, I mean, you could, in theory, do your in-person sales meeting right then and there, and just gap it 10, 15 minutes in between the 15-minute sessions. And at that point,
This is
you
actually a
actually...
situation where it's like 120 people in a matter of 45 minutes.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah. That would be harder. That would be more difficult. But you could
not really
actually...
a session.
Yeah, you could actually have an order form and take the payment there, and you bring somebody along and you have a square, swipe or whatever, and either people give you a check, they give you cash, they swipe a credit card, but you have somebody doing that for you.
Right.
But they're ordering right then and there, and they can ask a question to your face if they have a question about it. But it's sort of a way to, okay, I don't need to book you to have you come back to my studio or my house or whatever to have this sales meeting. I can just do it right there.
Right.
Obviously, like you said, for 125 people, that would be more difficult, but
and they're all around the country too. So
Yeah.
they come to this location, then they scatter. That's why obviously the online scenario works. It's just doing it better and trying to find better ways, at least having them at least check a box, or like you said, I mean, I just don't know if I would have time. In some cases you do, in some cases you don't, you kind of have to measure it, but even just having them take the commitment, yes, I want it. So when they receive that invoice, at least they're there.
Yeah. And one thing with the online is, if you are going to do it online as your sales approach, make sure that whatever you hand them in person is beautifully designed and well detailed. So that way they have all the information that they need right there printed out. You could do a 5x7 postcard type thing. You can order them so cheap and just have, the one side is the packages and the other side is just a little bit more about the packages and things like that.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Maybe create a little like a bit.ly or Google URL that you just put on there ahead, and then send them to your site for the online orders.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That's a
Yep.
good way to go about it. What are some of your other, what are some of the things you've heard about mini sessions in terms of pro and con related to what other photographers have done?
So there's been a debate about whether you give the digital files to the clients. And what I've come to do is I give like a Facebook size photo.
Okay.
So it's low resolution. It's like 1,000 pixels at most, and it's completely free, no watermark, and they can, share it around, whatever. And typically they tag you on it, which is fantastic.
Right.
Um, and there's no worries there. And then if somebody wants a higher quality digital for some reason, they pay for it,
Mm-hmm.
buy the image, or um, if they want the print, they order the print. And it's just a matter of just pricing those appropriately, because you have to know your customer base. The people who don't want to spend a lot of money on individual session also won't spend a lot of money on prints. So
Right. What are some other areas you think, people might be able to use a mini session? We just talked about obviously family, portraits, fashion. What are some other areas you think we could maybe apply
headshots
this
for
principle?
sure.
Headshots,
Headshots.
yeah.
Oh yeah. You can, especially with headshots where the lighting barely changes in between people, just
Right.
unless the skin tones are like drastically different. Um, you can knock out headshots so fast. And typically with headshots, the clients know already what they need. They need only a digital because it's for social media or for their company's website, or it's their acting 8x10, headshot that they're bringing when they go and and try to get a new role or something like
Yeah.
that. And so they know ahead of time what they want. They can not only book their headshot ahead of time, but they can, for the mini session, they can also reserve order what they need in the end right away.
Right.
So that's a pretty good one.
You could actually do a I don't know, just a session. Say, hey, I don't know. You tell me. This may go wrong. But initial, social is kind of spin off of what you're just talking about. An initial, like your LinkedIn profile pictures. Come on in for a day.
Yep.
Just have your LinkedIn profile picture updated. Have it a small size. It's perfect for LinkedIn or your other social media. And if you want a larger version, you pay so much. I mean, do you think there's too much risk by just offering that as the initial versus, say, like a small fee? Or should there be like a small fee at least to start that session?
Well, no, mini sessions always have a small fee.
Okay.
We probably should have mentioned that ahead of time.
Well, yeah, no,
You
I
always
think that
start
was
with
implied. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's always a small fee of some sort. Mine are, I've done $99, and I've gotten people, but I'm gonna try $79 for my next batch of mini sessions, and see if I can attract even more at the $79 range. So at $79, I have no problem doing a quick headshot for a person and giving them the digital.
Okay.
Something that takes me 10 minutes. If I can make, practically $80 in 10 minutes, that's pretty good.
Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely. Especially with the potential to make more down the road
Yeah.
if you do a good job, one, taking the photograph, and
Yeah.
two, following up.
Yeah, I mean, imagine you do a headshot for somebody who just got a position in a new business. They have a new job. They need a headshot for the website, and they hire. They come to this mini session. They spend $79. All they needed was the Facebook photo, right? But then they go to give that image to the webmaster for the company that they work at, and it's on the website and looks better than everybody else. So now the CEO's like, we need new headshots. And
Yeah.
they ask the person, where'd you go to get that done? And then they hire you to do everybody's headshot at the business.
Yeah, those can be nice. Law firms are awesome, things like
Oh
that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. All right, as we kind of wrap this topic up, what are some maybe parting thoughts that you might have for somebody who is considering trying out the mini session concept?
Over deliver, always over deliver. I mean, that's with anything in business, but give expectations ahead of time. So you're going to get this, whatever you're offering, but over deliver. have some sort of gift for them, and make sure that whatever they're receiving, it's beautifully packaged, even if they're just ordering a 4x6, and that's it.
Okay.
Make
Very
sure
good.
that you're over delivering on every step of the way.
That's good advice. Good advice. Hey, Scott, thank you so much for taking the time to
Yeah,
share
thank you.
your thoughts and insights.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, we'll talk to you next time. We'll definitely have Scott back on the pricing channel, and we'll see you all. Make sure that you share this video and, of course, subscribe if you don't want to miss a future upload. Talk to you next time.